Welcome to News Laundry Chota Hafta. For the full episode, subscribe because it is behind the paywall and only subscribers get access to uncut, complete content. News Laundry Hafta is our weekly wrap of all that made the news, all that didn't, and all that should have and all that shouldn't have. We agree, we disagree, we critique, and occasionally we beat each other up. But it's all good fun. Subscribe.
This is a News Laundry podcast and you're listening to NL Hafta.
अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज़ लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. We bring you हफ्ता as we record on the 1st of July, Thursday at 3 in the afternoon from a sweltering hot Delhi, which is seeing a heat wave that is extremely uncomfortable, and as is much of the world. But we shall get to the weather later. To begin with, let me introduce the panel. We have joining us our old friend and regular hafta panelist, Hartosh Singh Bal. Hi, Hartosh.
Hi.
Hartosh joins us on the phone in the pandemic age. Hopefully, we'll be able to have him in office soon. Those of you who may not know Hartosh, though there'll be very few of you, is the political editor of the Carrion magazine. He's the author of Waters Close Over Us, A Journey Along the Narmada, and he was the political editor at Open before. He is also the co-author of A Certain Ambiguity, a mathematical novel, which won the Association of American Publishers Award for the Best Professional Scholarly Book on Mathematics for 2007. He has worked for the Indian Express, the Helka, and Mail Today. And Hartosh, I read some piece that some Indian has solved, not Fermat's last theorem, but something significant for $1 million. Did you see that? What was that?
No, I think that's a hoax.
That's a
I
hoax.
saw something about, at least I think it was.
Okay.
Fermat's theorem has already been solved by Andrew Weil. So I don't think any Indian would be claiming that. I don't know what this is.
Oh, it's a hoax, Manisha informs me.
Because I think he tweeted out saying that yet again someone is solving it or whatever. It's like something like that.
I see. So, also joining us on the phone line from Patna is Anand Vardhan. Hi, Anand.
Yes, hello.
And how is the heat wave in Patna?
No, Patna has received good rainfall.
Yeah. It's somehow gone there. We are the only cursed people of Delhi who are not getting monsoons.
Also joining us on the line from the lovely climes of Kashmir is Mehraj. No heat wave there, I'm guessing, Mehraj.
And we are forcing him to come back by end of this week. We can't.
I'm not coming back anytime soon, but hello.
I'm not coming. Actually, this morning he was boasting that he was wearing a hoodie in the evenings. So in Bhadas, Raman said, Acha, we need you back day after, so just come. So that is how we are. And joining us in the office is Raman Kripal and Manisha Pandey.
Hello.
And I'm Abhinandan Sekhri. Before we get on to the discussion, Manisha will give us the headlines.
Yes. Brazilian Health Minister Marcelo Quiroga has said his country will suspend its COVID-19 vaccine contract with India's Bharat Biotech. This is after allegations of corruption in the deal for buying 20 million Covaxin doses at higher prices. Chhattisgarh has recorded 4.85 times the official reported deaths between April and May during the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic. The Ghaziabad police today has invoked the National Security Act against a member of the Samajwadi Party called Ummeed Pahalwan Idris in connection with the assault of an elderly Muslim man in Ghaziabad. This is the person who put up a video that went viral, because of which then there were FIRs filed later on journalists who shared it. The Uttar Pradesh police has filed an FIR against Twitter India Managing Director Manish Maheshwari for a map that allegedly appeared on Twitter showing Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh as separate from India. The Delhi police has, all the headlines are just files an FIR. The Delhi police has registered a first information report against Twitter, again for allegedly allowing access to child pornography on the social media platform. Drones were spotted near 3 different defense installations in Jammu for the 4th consecutive day on Wednesday. Chief Justice of India, N.V. Ramana, said the mere right of the public to change the ruler, quote unquote, once every few years by itself need not be a guarantee against tyranny.
Mm-hmm. I'm warming up to this Chief Justice until I'm disappointed.
Yes. But when I think he's going to serve for a little longer, 1 year at least as a Chief Justice.
I don't know. I'm not sure what his retirement date is, but my relationships with Chief Justice is always the first flush of Ummeed, and then it comes dashing to the ground. I think it started from Keher onwards.
No, so then I think the government will dig out something against him as well.
NIA discharges Akhil Gogoi in the last pending case. He can walk out of jail today. The Supreme Court asked Ramdev to produce before it the video and transcripts of his statements on allopathy's effectiveness in treating coronavirus cases. The Delhi High Court has declined to stay the centre's May 20th notice that had asked digital news portals to comply with the IT Rules 2021. The petition argued that IT rules create a space for the state to enter and control news by way of deletion, modification, blocking, censure, compelled topology, and more. Farmers protesting against the central government's farm laws at the border of Delhi marked 7 months of their protest. On Saturday, the farmers decided to march towards Delhi from their respective locations. A month after 86 people died owing to the sinking of barge P305 and tugboat Varaprada in Arabian Sea, Mumbai's Yellowgate police has booked the owners of Varaprada for culpable homicide. This was the story of the week and a very disturbing one. 18-year-old Sikh woman Manmeet Kaur was sent back to her family following allegations that she was quote-unquote forcibly married to a Muslim man in Srinagar earlier this month. Manmeet was then, as newspaper reports said, handed over to her parents, married off to a Sikh man in Srinagar. This followed an intense campaign by Majinder Singh Sirsa and friends who claimed that Sikh girls were being kidnapped left, right and center and converted in the valley. So we can discuss this in detail. That really captured a lot of the headlines. The Uttar Pradesh Anti-Terrorism Squad has arrested 2 clerics from Delhi for allegedly converting more than 1,000 people to Islam in the state by luring them with money, jobs, marriage, among other things. We have 2 very detailed reports on this, so please read that. And they've made some arrests today also, including one of the persons who served as a sign interpreter with the Modi government. A group of actors and filmmakers, including Anurag Kashyap, Hansal Mehta, Shabana Azmi, Zoya Akhtar, have written an open letter to the Information and Broadcasting Ministry against the government's proposed amendments to the 1952 Cinematography Act. The Uttar Pradesh police has filed a first information report against The Wire and 2 of its journalists and also people who featured in that report for spreading false information, trying to create religious animosity. This is because of a video report that they had done on Barabanki mosque demolition. An intense heat wave has swept across the national capital and nearby cities like Gurgaon on Wednesday. Delhi reported a maximum temperature of... Why do we have weather reports suddenly?
Because this is big, yeah. It's the world over.
I feel strange suddenly reading.
I always used to find it big.
It's usually the most read articles also on websites. But anyway, okay, so Delhi reported a maximum temperature of 43.4 degrees Celsius according to the Observatory of the Indian Meteorological Department.
You should feel good here after doing nuisance, I think.
Yeah. At
Reading
least this is
Reading
not
the weather.
partisan. And,
Or you become very
and the
political.
last headlines, I'll say that Canada recorded the highest temperature of the country's west and US Pacific Northwest in an unprecedented heat wave. 46.6 is what British Columbia, with the temperature there was. And apparently they've had, in the 3-day period that they measured, 100 more deaths than normal.
Unbelievable. Canada. 44.6.
And the former US police officer, Derek Chauvin, has been found guilty of the murder of George Floyd. And he's been sentenced to 22.5 years of prison time. And also, Donald Rumsfeld died, the Defense Secretary of Defense during the Iraq War, who made it famous. We have the known knowns, the known unknowns, and the unknown unknowns. That famous speech of his.
Abhinandan, today the Express has a pretty detailed story in the inside pages, which is pretty reasonable in terms of summing up the relationship and the time it started and what has happened in this case. And it says the boy and the girl knew each other. The boy is 28. He had a previous marriage, but the families knew that they were meeting each other for a period of time. So this was no surprise. All I want to point out is, given all this, the larger context. Whenever 2 communities live next to each other, some cases like these are bound to happen. I mean, that's the law of human attraction. You cannot cordon this off, however much men in either community, whether it is Muslims or Sikhs or Hindus for that matter, want to impose this. I think Mehraj said in some senses, and I want to de-emphasize that it was a Muslim woman who was kidnapped and would be raped. It doesn't matter it was Muslim or Sikh. What has happened in either case would be a problem. But the timing of this is what I want to emphasize. This is no coincidence.
So what you're saying is similar things could have happened in the past, but may not have been taken up for this. Right.
Yeah. So why does Sirsa suddenly rush from Delhi? Why is Amit Shah suddenly available? Why is this issue pushed to this point? Why do you hear the echoes of the UP conversion law right at this point of time? All this is not a coincidence. It is the background of Kashmir and UP both operating in some senses. And you have the Sikh diaspora and the radical elements jumping in, who are the ones who are also creating trouble within the farm movement at certain points of time. So these things are linked. I'm not drawing any great conspiracy on it, but this is quite evident that this is what is happening. Conversion, I can tell you as we head into the UP election, anti-conversion, the issues of Islamophobia, resonant ways in which the BJP campaigns will all be back on the table, given the background of bad administration, COVID, etc. This is where the BJP will fight this election to a great extent.
Well,
This is, to me, one of the first salvos in that beginning of this process. They will also point out that it's not just the Hindus who are demanding this, it is also the Sikhs who also want such a law. And you can quote people like Sirsa, who are not negligible personalities within the Sikh community either.
speaking of negligible personalities, have the Guptkar Alliance members said anything on this? Have they weighed in?
I think they
No.
would all make like similar ki we don't want community ties to be strained. I don't think any community leader that way acted wisely by saying let's figure out from the couple what really happened. Both the communities were just
It's
saying,
rhetoric.
let's just, we don't want to fight, so it's okay.
There were
लड़की
only-
को वापस कर दो, चलो लड़का भी नहीं करेगा, चलो सुलह हो गई, खत्म.
No, you can clearly see there are only two actors in the entire episode. One is the Gurdwara Sikh radicals, and the other is media, Godi media. So these two are the major actors.
No one else is saying anything.
And they are the ones who amplified it for the political reasons.
Right.
And one thing I just want to add, because we were talking about conversion cases in UP. Now there have been 2 arrests, Umar Gautam and another of his, who were supposed to be. They've busted a racket of some 1,000 conversions. Just to emphasize the media's role, now from these files, ATS found out a bunch of people who've converted. One of them is a lady called Renu Gangwar. She converted to Islam on May 27th and she took the name Aisha Alvi. And she says that she converted for a job in Dubai. And she has some personal reasons, don't want to get into that. But now she's put up a petition in the Delhi High Court saying that she's receiving threats from the media. She's getting threatening calls from journalists saying that she's going to be reported and, what she's done is against the conversion law. And, all kinds of misinformation being reported on her in various newspapers, journalists calling her up, asking her, name the Muslim who pressured you into converting. Mm-hmm. So here's a woman who's done it for whatever reasons she wants to. She's gone to the court and said, it's my own will and I'm getting harassed. But you have the media hounding her, reaching her house, forcing her to give an interview, printing stuff like, oh my God, she converted for job, for money and for whatever, lalach ke liye usne apna dharam badal liya type. So it's crazy how...
About this conversion point, like Hartosh said, now it's apparent, it's very clear that this whole conversion business, this love jihad business, it's a political tool. And the way the media is using Gobeletian and Orwellian language to sell it to mostly the majority community is that conversion, obviously the constitution permits you to propagate your faith. So you can convert for whatever reason you like, as long as it's not forced, as long as there's no coercion. And there can only be forcible conversion if you have power to force somebody. And in this country right now, which Muslim, from any politician to any cleric to anybody else, has that much power to convert, say, like the UP police are saying 1,000 people and without anybody knowing it?
Yeah, I guess when Yogi ji gives us an interview, we shall ask him this. And hopefully, Maharaj,
If we will ever.
we shall
Give us
hopefully, if we do get a approval for an interview with Modi ji, you do the interview and start off the interview with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Let's see how he reacts. Let's see if he gets up and goes immediately. Says dosti bani rahe, dushmani bani rahe.
Yeah,
Well,
kya
in
kar
this
rahe hain?
connection with UP, there's been in High Court cases pending on conversion, which is what I keep saying, the importance of conversion in this debate. In the latest, I think it was just yesterday or today, it's been reported that 3 cases came up for seeking protection from the High Court for people who had converted to get married. 2 of those 3 cases were cases of Muslim women who had converted to Hinduism through the Arya Samaj to marry a Hindu. These cases come up in court, they drop out of our vision, and we are constantly fed this claim that it only happens one way. And somehow the media never goes and examines such cases of which in court there is available evidence of it happening.
To Hartosh's point, I just want to add, the Pew Research says exactly this. The percentage of people converting away from Hinduism is nearly the same as converting into. Same for Sikhism. I forget the percentage. It's a negligible 0 point something percent, but it's the same. It's the same percentage. The media is. I mean, it's not crazy. I guess it's pretty obvious and usual, but
But yeah, I guess it has the classic masala takes which get you TRPs, advertisers, and of course government advertising, which is why we say we do not take government advertising, we do not take private sector advertising, we only run on subscribers. So pay to keep news free so we can fund ground reports and don't have to resort to this kind of nonsensical stuff. The Hafta being the sole exception where we just do nonsensical stuff. But other than that, you'll see ground reports on News Laundry funded by your money. Go to newslaundry.com, click on the subscribe button and pay to keep news free. And I'm going to repeat that we have a new Sena project. And this Sena project is called The Plunder of the Aravalis. And the Aravali forest near Delhi has been in the eye of many builders. Many successive government of Haryana have done enough disservice to it. And Raman sir has deputed some wonderful reporters to do a series. So this is going to be a series I'll look forward to because I'm from Delhi. And it will have a lot of, I'm sure, corruption and some big names who we have known in other avatars. So do check it out and do go to newslaundry.com and please support this Sena project.
But the fact is, let us not look at the platitudes of public lectures as a reflection on the institution that they come from, because public lectures are supposed to be platitudinous. Second is, let us not personalize institutions. Chief justices, in the end, have managed to have very little positive influence on the institution of the judiciary. They can have large negative influences. We've seen that in the past. You referred to Gogoi. The statement he was referring to, he confirmed that it was the Loya case that had led to the press conference, actually. Keher himself, another example, collegium system, great betrayal of promise. The judges they had all come out against was Arun Mishra, who's today headed to a plum post. All these people, Gogoi himself claiming that there should be no sinecures for the judiciary later, all of them anticipating it. But the larger problem is this one structural problem that we are seeing over a period of time. One is in terms of the many things that we have now started reporting on, the harassment case involving Gogoi, the questions and charges of corruption against chief justices that have come up before the courts, that have come out in the media. But the third is also the fundamental mindset of the judiciary, which, when it is often asked to choose between reasons of state and the constitution, prefers to side with the reasons of state. And this has been true for a long time with the Indian judiciary. It is true in the laws like TADA, POTA, UAPA. And this current system, this UAPA judgment from the High Court, which released Devangana and Natasha, their judgment was a studied examination of the UAPA and its failings. What did the Supreme Court do? It set it aside as a precedent. What has the UAPA been achieving? The UAPA has never actually succeeded in getting anybody pinned down for actual terror, but it has managed to, over the past 1 year, you look at its usage in West Bengal, you look at its usage in states going to the elections, you suddenly found Akhil Gogoi, various TMC members, and this is not specific to the BJP. This is what the Congress was doing. Mr. Chidambaram, who's suddenly thinking of civil liberties today, was a man who was the greatest pusher of such kind of laws. So,
and also the architect of Operation Green Hunt.
Absolutely. So the institutional problems that we have and the mindset is not going to change just because we've seen one platitude in one public lecture. That's all.
Considering cinema is such a huge part of India and has been for the longest time, and while we've had a lot of very, escapist cinema, we've had a lot of really awesome political cinema as well. Doesn't it surprise anyone that there has never been a, consolidated pushback against the certification board? Or is it because they actually get people from within the cinematic community to become members, and then they just they divide and rule? If everybody's been a victim of this at some point or the other, it would make sense for me that they come together and say, this is in no one's interest. Because it's not that large a group. I mean, just 25, 30 big filmmakers are enough. Yeah. And it's not that hard getting 25, 30 people together. I mean, honestly.
They did get together for that whole defamation case.
Against Times.
Against Times and Arnab. Yeah, and Republic.
Yeah, they did.
38, I'd say those are the most powerful people.
In fact, Shah Rukh
38.
and
yeah.
other than selling us Vimal Pan Masala together, Shah Rukh and Ajay together were together in that
Yeah.
suit as well.
Akshay also.
Akshay was
of
there,
them, yeah.
Amir was there. So I mean, anyway,
Everyone across ideologies.
Right. You can't get 10 media owners to stand up against the government, and they have far more power. Can you imagine 10
True.
top directors or who? Akshay Kumar is going to stand up and say, oh, Modi ji, don't do this.
And what you're saying that if there will be so many subscription models, I think there are already certain products that have emerged in the US where you have like a wallet, and let's say 5 of us get together and say we will be a part of this wallet. So whoever reads whichever article from that wallet, that much gets deducted. So it's a micropayment model. So that is one. So we can all be part of that little ecosystem. It's like an Amazon Prime or a Netflix. Another is I do believe one can scale it, but it'll be a slow scale, and there'll have to be language rollouts, and then there will be a consolidation in the digital news space as well. I hope it doesn't become like the legacy media space, that there's just Amazon and, I don't know, 2 or 3 e-tailers like Zomato and Swiggy. That's it. I mean, I don't think that's healthy for a news system. Yeah, there will be a consolidation. That's what I think. Anyone else has any views on how this will play out or how it should?
Well, between how it will play out and how it should, the problem is I fully understand the people that we are addressing are our own subscribers who have our best interests at heart. But sometimes, we do feel a certain sense of exasperation that the question of money always comes up with regards to the media and its diversity, when the total amount that we are talking about is actually not very large in terms of what single person consumes. You put together flight platforms, how much do you end up paying per month? Nobody says that 5 different pizza chains are unsustainable. And if we are running a democracy where media, journalism, dissent has to have some meaning, then that meaning can only come from meaning that citizens question it. If they do actually think that much money in a month is not worth paying for, then you are not going to get a democratic society. Unfortunately, that is the truth. It may sound like a platitude, but there is no escaping from it. From our end, we can't do much to change it if people do not realize it.
So Hartosh has, in a much more refined and eloquent way, said what I say every week. मुफत खोरों जो चैं करते रहते हो ना कि ऐसे ये है, देखो न्यूज़ देखो, खुद पैसे दो, ज्ञान ना पे लो, पैसे पे लो. ठीक है. All of you listening in, the Chota Hafta, do subscribe so you can listen to the entire Hafta. We will see you again next week with the Hafta. Till then, subscribe, pay to keep news free, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Thank you. Goodbye.
All the News Laundry podcasts are available on Stitcher, iTunes, and any other podcast platform.
Please subscribe to News Laundry. Help us keep news independent. To catch all our podcasts on news, pop culture, current affairs, and sport, visit newslaundry.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sun liya Afrika, mufat khoron. Not to brag or anything, but News Laundry Hafta features in the top 50 in the world on SoundCloud in the news and politics category for podcasts. So do subscribe and see what you're missing, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Subscribe, help keep news independent and free. All News Laundry podcasts are available on iTunes and Stitcher and any other podcast platform.